Spiked rollers. I am going to talk about spiked rollers in this video. We use them a lot in epoxy floors. People ask, what's their purpose? Why do we use them? Some misconceptions around spiked rollers. I want to talk about them again today. So, number one, spiked rollers. I'll show you a few pictures. We use them mainly for thick epoxy coats, like self-leveling. You don't need to use them for like a paint, like a roller applied floor. If you're using a thin floor, like a paint applied floor, you don't need them for that because there's no purpose. You only use them when you have a thickness, maybe 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters or more, where because you're leaving a thick epoxy layer and that creates bubbles, you need a spiked roller to sort of smoothen out the floor and also release any bubbles. So the number one purpose of a spiked roller is to remove bubbles. And let me emphasize though, there are other causes of bubbles, and I'm going to post a video because people think that if I have a spiked roller I won't get bubbles. That is wrong. There are other reasons why we get bubbles in epoxy floors. Very important point. I'm going to post some links so you can read more about that. Now, bubble removal is one reason we use spiked rollers. Also, smoothing out the floor is another reason why we use a spiked roller. As we apply the floor with a trowel and we might have a few lines out there, by using a roller you can kind of smoothen out the floor, make sure that the epoxy on the floor is properly distributed so you get a nice smooth surface. Important point to note, always use clean rollers. And what I mean by that is, after every time you use a spiked roller, you need to clean it. Spend 10 minutes with some thinner or solvent cleaning it properly. Because if you don't clean it, it will just pick up more and more product. It won't roll properly. It will be displacing product. I'm showing you a picture of here like a really bad looking roller. This is what happens. You always want to have clean rollers. It's very important. It will definitely improve the results of your work. One important point is where to purchase rollers. Many people ask me this because the truth is you can't just walk into any paint store and say, can I have a spiked roller? Most stores don't stock them. Most hardware stores don't stock them. And the reason is it's quite a specialized thing. I mean, I live in Athens, Greece. There's maybe 5 or 6 stores in the whole city that stock these things. And a lot of time you have to order them. Where do I purchase them? Well, a great place to purchase them are the big websites like Amazon and eBay. You can get pretty good prices and you can order them from a nearby country if they're not in your country, and you can get them shipped to you. Otherwise, you have to seek out the stores in your city or in your town that kind of deal with concrete supplies and concrete surfacing. These are the stores that tend to also bring in tools like spiked rollers. So you may want to give them a call. Keep in mind, spiked rollers come in different shapes, sizes. So you've got the really narrow ones and then you've got the really wide ones. If you're doing a small project with little rooms, you want a small, narrow one because you want to be in full control of what you're doing. You want to be able to take the roller right next up to the wall and make sure that the bubbles by the wall are eliminated, because we tend to get many bubbles around walls, so you need a small roller with one side free so you can go right up to the wall. Bigger size rollers tend to have a frame around them, and because of that frame, like you see here, this frame, they can't go all the way to the wall. However, if you are working on a big project like a 500 square meter, 1,000 square meter, you definitely need a large roller because a small roller will not be able to keep up with the work. Having said that, keep in mind, I experienced this once. I was working on a floor where unfortunately the concrete surface was kind of wavy underneath. So we applied the epoxy hoping to smoothen it out. But what we realized when we were actually applying the roller wasn't, because it was a really wide roller. It was like a 60 centimeter really wide roller. It wasn't actually touching, like evenly reaching all the areas of the floor. So in this area where there was more product, we actually were getting bubbles, and it was very difficult to eliminate the bubbles by using the spiked roller. So that's when you have to keep in mind, you may want a smaller roller as well to make sure that you can eliminate these roller marks if the big roller is too wide for it. Thank you very much for watching. I am going to post some more links here because this is a big subject. I'm going to post a video for bubbles, and I'm going to post a few more important points to keep out, and also how to get good looking self-leveling floors. Because spiked rollers, although they look quite easy to use, there are some nuances when you work with them. Remember always to be wearing spiked shoes when you work with spiked rollers. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.